Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about Vilnius, Lithuania, and what it's like to live there as a digital nomad or as an expat. I've spent about 5 months there. My name's Chris, and welcome to Tripping Down the World. Where is Vilnius? Vilnius is in Eastern Europe. It's the capital of Lithuania. And why should you move to Vilnius? As a digital nomad, it's a great escape from the more popular places around the world. It's also quite affordable, and it's a really good base to explore the rest of Europe. But why is Vilnius awesome? The city life. It's a small city with a population of about 500,000 people. It has a beautiful old town with an Eastern European vibe. The summer weather is amazing. You'll be swimming in rivers and lakes instead of at sandy beaches. And it's rarely too hot at night. You should be able to sleep well with just a fan, even if you hate the heat like I do. The streets are very clean. There's no traffic at all. It's actually kind of quiet. There are also bike paths everywhere. It's incredibly safe and walkable as well. I've gone out by myself at night at least 50 times, and I've never felt unsafe, and no one ever bothers me or even approaches me. This makes it very easy to go out with your friends. No matter where you are living in the city, everything is just about a 20-minute bus ride or maybe half-hour walk away. And I really like how small the city is. You'll quickly find your favorite cafes, restaurants, bars, and clubs. The locals are very friendly, and they actually really go out of their way to help you have a good time. I've had them take me to the hospital, pet sit for me, give me a volunteer job. They can translate for me on the phone. They take me on pub crawls, and they show me secret little places to sneak into castles and where you can make bonfires at night, and where the little local lakes and rivers are you can swim in. There's a mix of tourists, international students, and locals everywhere, so you should be able to fit in anywhere you go. Housing. The average monthly income in Vilnius is 762 euros. You should be able to find a studio or a one-bed apartment downtown for about 500 euros a month. Outside of the city, 350 euros, or you can share with flatmates for 200 euros a month. I started with Airbnbs downtown for 486 euros, and then another one for 425 euros with all the utilities included. Housing and Airbnb are going to be a lot cheaper in the off-season, just because there's so many tourists in Vilnius in the summertime. Most flats will have a washing machine and a small kitchen. I had to buy my own microwave, and I never have seen an oven. Here are some photos of my apartment so you can get an idea of what to expect. This is a large furnished studio with a simple kitchen and a washing machine. It's about 20 minutes from downtown Vilnius, and it's about 425 euros a month. Internet and SIM cards. Internet is very fast in Vilnius, and you'll find it included in all of the Airbnbs. Also, all the restaurants, bars, and cafes have Wi-Fi. I've experienced download speeds of about 45 megabytes a second and upload speeds of 15 megabytes a second everywhere that I stayed. I always buy a SIM card for backup, just in case my internet goes down. You can buy SIM cards at the supermarkets or at any convenience store. You don't need the passport, you don't need to register, you just buy it. It'll start working in 10 or 20 minutes. The coverage for the SIM cards is great. The 4G is actually faster than the wired internet in Vilnius, with speeds of about 75 megabytes a second down and 15 megabytes up as well. SIM cards cost about 2 euros per gigabyte. For example, right now, the Bass has a data bundle for 4 gigabytes for 1 month, and it costs 8 euros. If you need to buy your own unlimited internet at home, it's going to cost about 20 euros a month with a 1-year contract. Digital nomad and expat community. There are a good amount of international students, tourists, and backpackers here. You're going to bump into foreigners everywhere you go. Sadly, there are very few permanent expats in Vilnius. I think this is probably due to the winter weather and also the visa requirements. You'll make plenty of international friends, but most of them will probably be leaving within a year. You're better off making friends with the locals if you plan to stay long term. Restaurants and food. The food in Lithuania is just okay unless you're on a big budget. I wouldn't come here if you're looking for an amazing food experience. Most of the local dishes are meat, potatoes, beets, and way too much mayonnaise. Restaurants range in price quite significantly based on how fancy or touristy they are. Almost all of them offer outdoor seating, which is nice. You can find every type of international food here in the old town if you don't mind paying for it. Also, like me, you can find quality restaurants such as Ethnicity offering filling local dishes for about €6 or €7 a person. These usually close around 10 p.m. Or you can go to the budget restaurants like Chili Pizza, where you can get a kebab for €2.50, a burger for €4, or a pizza for €5. These restaurants are usually open until about 2 a.m. And then, like me, you can find fast food such as Hesburger and McDonald's. These are open 24 hours. They're kind of a good go-to late night food. My go-to food here is definitely a kebab. There's many options from the corner stops at the bus stop or specialty kebab places like Jammy. Usually you can get a pretty big kebab for €4 or a smaller one for €2, but if you get the €4 kebab, it should be enough food to last you the whole day. But even better than kebabs, I would recommend eating at home if you're on a tight budget or if you want to be healthy. The supermarkets here are awesome. They're really big. They have everything you want. You really only need to go to one store and you'll find everything you need. The big stores here are called Rimi, Iki, and Maxima. I'll list a few things and their prices. 12 eggs, €1. Cheese, 70 cents. Ham, €1. Salad, €2. A pre-made sandwich, €2. Rotisserie chicken, €5 for a kilogram. 1 liter of beer at the store can be about 1.3 to 1.6 euros. 20 cigarettes is 2 or 3 euros. And the water is free. You just drink from the tap. Nightlife. This is my favorite thing about Vilnius. The nightlife in Vilnius is awesome. You can find everything you're looking for from billiards, karaoke, pub crawls, dancing, craft beer, sports bars, live music, or just dive bars where you go to talk shit. Everything's within walking distance. You'll find a good mix of young people, old people, students, and locals at almost every bar. Going out is very affordable in Vilnius. A beer or a cider is usually around 2.7 euros at a bar. Wine and mixed drinks can be 4 or 5 euros. Club entrance, I've never seen it more than 5 euros. So this is really a good bonus for me because I'm used to spending a lot more money than this in other European cities. You can go out, you can have fun, you don't really need to worry about breaking the bank. Another thing I like about the nightlife here is that fashion is not very existent. For example, you can just wear whatever you want. There's no dress code. I've noticed kind of a punkish or hipster vibe. I'll quickly list my favorite bars in Vilnius. La Bira, Bix Bar, Who Hit John, Club Cocaine, and Hooters. Local transportation. This is another one of my favorite things about Vilnius. Buses are the most common form of transport here, and they're pretty cheap. You can take a bus anywhere in the city from 50 cents to €1. They're really quick too because there's no traffic. Also, you can sign up to take these city bikes, like the ones that are on the racks. You may have probably seen these somewhere else. You need to pay €4 a month for this service, as long as you only take it for 30 minutes at a time. This bicycle service is called Cyclicity. I really like this option because you can start at home, bike to wherever you're going, you can meet your friends, you can bike around, and then at the end of the night you can decide to either bike back home, or you can walk, take a bus, or take an Uber. Uber is pretty cheap here. It's usually about 4 or 5 euros to take a ride home for about 20 minutes. They also have another service called Taxify, which is pretty much the same. I would recommend taking buses home at night. The buses are really empty, they're clean, they're integrated into Google, so they're always on time. You know exactly where to go to take it. The buses are awesome. Travel possibilities. Vilnius is a great place to base yourself if you like to do weekend trips. The airport's really small and quick. It's about a 15-minute bus ride that costs just €1 from the city center to get to the airport. International flights within the Schengen zone, you only need to arrive 40 minutes before your flight leaves. Some cheap destinations you could go by airplane include Norway, France, Greece, Georgia, Italy, the UK, Morocco, Russia, Iceland, Israel, and Egypt. Remember when you travel from Vilnius to leave most of your things behind, because you're probably going to be flying on Wizz Air or Ryanair, and they only allow a carry-on of maybe 5 to 8 kilograms. Also, Vilnius has a wonderful international bus station. I have quite a bit of experience taking Lux Express. It's a small bus with Wi-Fi, USB plugs, TV, and free coffee/tea. Some of the places you can go with Lux Express are in Eastern Europe. So you can go to the capital of Latvia, which is Riga. You can go to Tallinn in Estonia, go to Warsaw, Poland, or you could go to St. Petersburg, Russia. The language barrier. Lithuanian is a difficult language to learn, but luckily most younger Lithuanians speak English. You should have no problem getting around and buying things. The only time I've had some trouble was when I was out in the countryside, and also when I'm trying to buy used things such as a bicycle or a microwave. About 10% of Lithuanians can speak Russian, so if you know Russian, it could be a useful thing here. Buying used things. You can buy used things on Craigslist, Skelbui, or Facebook in Lithuania. Skelbui is the Lithuanian version of Craigslist. It has tons of things. It's definitely the best, but it's very difficult to use. You're going to have to translate the posts, and not only that, but when you call someone, you're going to have to translate to talk to them. So I wouldn't recommend using Skelbui, but if you really want to save some money and you got the time, go for it. I would go with Facebook because it's mostly foreigners posting on there, and you can search in English, you can sell in English. The group is called Foreigners in Vilnius. If you want to buy some new things for your apartment, there also is Amazon UK and Amazon Germany. This could take maybe a couple weeks for things to get delivered, but it's useful if you need something specific. Also, there is a huge IKEA in Vilnius where you can find some nice furniture if that's what you're after. Weather. The weather in Vilnius is one of the main reasons I moved there. I was tired of how hot the summers are in Vietnam and the Philippines. Vilnius has all 4 seasons, which is something I missed after spending a couple of years in Southeast Asia. It's nice to be able to walk around with pants and a jacket in the spring and the fall. In the summertime, you can walk around just in shorts and a t-shirt, and you're not drenching in sweat in the oppressing humidity. The nice thing about the summertime here too is how late the sun stays up at night. In midsummer, the sun sets around 11:30 p.m. and then it comes back up at 3 a.m. So even at nighttime, the sky will never get black. The sun just kind of goes down, gets blue, comes back up. It's a very long day. It's nice. The average summer temperatures here are a high of 21 degrees and a low of 10 degrees at night. And in the wintertime, it's cold. The high is about -2 and the low -8 at night. All year round, it rains about 14 or 15 days a year, but it's not like a horrible rain. It's just a light rain. It'll go away. It's not going to ruin your day. Because Vilnius has all 4 seasons, it also has a winter. The winter here is very cold, it's very dark, it's windy, and it's snowy. I'd recommend, if it's your first time in Vilnius, you come from springtime until fall. Take advantage of the mild climate. Outdoor activities. The outdoors is one of the great things about Vilnius. You're not going to find surfing or much hiking here. It's very flat, and the ocean is about a 10-hour train ride away from Vilnius. The outdoor activities that I enjoy include the Green Lakes Beach, the Baltic Sea Beach and National Park in Klaipėda, free barbecues along the river, bonfires in the woods, and hundreds of kilometers of bike trails and lanes. And most of all, I enjoy the parks that are scattered all over the city. The parks here are huge. I live next to one called Vingus Parkas. It has an outdoor gym, volleyball, skateboarding, free concerts, and maybe 10 or 15 kilometers of bike paths. And it's right on a river. And they have a bar and a cafe, a lot of grass and trees. You can just see a lot of people enjoying their day. Visa requirements. Generally, tourists are allowed to stay in Lithuania for 3 months every 6 months. You can get around this by signing up for a class and getting a student visa. You can apply for a visa extension, or you can somehow get a job, which I never did. If you're from a Western allied country like the USA, Canada, UK, Australia, Japan, or South Korea, you're not going to need to apply for a visa in advance. You can just show up at the airport and they'll give you the stamp. It'll say 90 days. But if you're from some place like Asia, South America, Russia, India, or China, you're going to have to apply for your visa in advance at an embassy. If you're from Europe or from one of the 26 Schengen area countries, you should be able to avoid most of these visa requirements. Personally, I am from the United States. I stayed in Lithuania for 4 months. I extended my time a little bit by taking weekend trips out of the Schengen area. I also went to Kenya for 3 weeks. Religion and ethnicity. I don't want to talk much about this, but when considering a place to live, it can be an important factor. In a 2011 census, Lithuania polled at 77% Christian and 20% atheist. Religion is really a non-issue here. You should be able to fit in no matter what your beliefs are. 78% of Lithuanians identify as ethnic Lithuanians, and the rest are Russians and Poles. Only 2% identified as other. I fit right in here, and most people assumed that I was just a local. I found this to be a refreshing change, especially coming from some places like China, Egypt, India, East Africa, and Japan. No matter what your race is, especially in Vilnius, you're not going to have to worry about people taking selfies with you, or pickpocketing you, or trying to take advantage of you for being a foreigner. Lithuanians are very welcoming and open-minded. I find this to be a big bonus of Lithuania. Medical care. If you're from a country that requires a visa in advance, you're going to also need travel insurance. I Am Global is a good option to meet the minimums. It cost me 80 euros for 3 months. People who can get visa on arrival, like myself, you're not going to have your insurance checked, but it could still be a good idea. Vilnius has several top-notch private and public hospitals. Also, members of the EU should be able to use your own home insurance in Vilnius. So in Vilnius, I had no insurance myself on the previous trip, and I was hit by a car. The visit to the ER cost me only 95 euros. Also, I chose to get laser eye surgery done here. It cost about 800 euros, which is about 20% the price as it would in the United States. So coming from the USA, I find the healthcare in Vilnius to be of about equal quality and much cheaper. It's even cheaper here with no insurance than it would be in the United States with insurance. So if you have a decent emergency fund, I think you should be able to afford a trip to the hospital in Vilnius. And if you get seriously sick, you can always fly home. Pharmacies here are of about an average price, and you're going to need a prescription to pick up the more powerful drugs. Consultations at public hospitals are 15 euros. All medical services in Lithuania have a set price, so you'll know the cost beforehand. You're not going to get surprised with some crappy bill like in the USA. Dating. I don't have much personal experience with this, but Tinder does work here. You shouldn't have too much trouble finding a local partner, and there are plenty of drunk tourists and students at the bars and clubs if you're looking for a short-term hookup. Lithuanians aren't too conservative. I don't know. Safety, drugs, and prostitution. Lithuania is ranked in the top 71% of safest cities in the world. I walk around here alone at night all the time. I've never had any problems. I've seen a couple bar fights, but that's about it. Violent crime, pickpocketing, and police corruption are pretty much a non-issue here. The most common crime is graffiti and vandalism. I feel super safe here, and it's a great reason to move to Vilnius. Drugs are illegal and pretty uncommon in Vilnius. Even weed can be hard to come by. Prostitution is illegal, and this is definitely not a sex tourism city. I find this to be pretty refreshing. I've been pretty annoyed walking around in places like Bangkok and Manila with hookers bothering me all the time. That's all the categories I could think of. Let me know if there's one I should add for the next video. Let's review the cons and pros of living in Vilnius. The top 5 cons. Number 5, the restaurants. There's no cheap street food here, and the restaurants are pretty repetitive and bland. 4, housing. You might have a hard time finding a short-term lease here, unless you're living with students or doing some type of a sublet, but you can always do Airbnb. 3, the visa. You may have a hard time staying here longer than 3 months, especially if you're not from Europe. 2, the expat community. There's a lot of foreigners in Vilnius, but you're going to have a hard time finding long-term friends who are expats. You're going to have to meet locals. And number one, the horrible winter weather. The winter here is brutal, it's dark, it's cold, it's snowy, it's wet. Don't come here in the winter time. Now the top 7 pros. Great summer weather and parks. So the weather here is amazing from April until September. 6, fast internet speeds. I've had 45 megabyte second downloads everywhere I've been. 5, affordability. Living in Vilnius allows you to experience Europe at a discount. 4, transportation. Vilnius is very walkable, it's very bikeable. The buses are really easy, and there's always Uber. 3, the supermarkets. The great thing about Vilnius is you can buy everything you need in one place. You don't have to waste your time walking around the city. 2, the nightlife. It's very safe here, the locals are awesome, and it's so much fun to live here. And number 1, Vilnius is a great European base. We have so many cheap buses, cheap flights all around Europe. The airport's small, it's fast, it's easy. Hopefully this video helped you decide if you should move to Vilnius as a digital nomad or as an expat. If you have any questions about Vilnius or in general about being a digital nomad, expat, or a backpacker, please put them in the comments below or send them to me on Twitter. I'll try to post a Q&A video every month. Coming up, I'll have Manila, Philippines, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and Medellin, Colombia. Please subscribe and follow me on social media. That's it for this video. Thanks for checking out Tripping Down the World.